Okay, so talk a little bit about dreams today, but not the meaning of dreams. We should know that a dream is a wonderful thing. To have a dream is a wonderful thing, as long as you're dreaming it. As long as you're dreaming the dream, it's a good thing. And many times the problems start when the dream is being fulfilled and you haven't been prepared for the day after. Shichu. Yeah, chalom, yo. One day. Am Yisrael. It's right before, we're in the week before Tisha B'Av, and I don't know. Always feel uncomfortable, but I gotta say it. Whatever needs to be said should be said. Am Yisrael goes a tremendous change in his identity itself, and especially in recent years, the change is so great, and it's not always a good change. We had a whole campaign of presidency, change, and as you see, things did change, but not always for the best. Things that we were very impressed by at the time, things that would take a long time, but we could be impressed by over a long period of time, slowly become a little bit of a burden and tiring. How much can you talk about something? At a certain point you want to move to a new scheme. The seriousness in which we dealt with all those things that we dreamed about and so on and so forth becomes very cynical after a while. Mainly because of just being tired of talking over and over again about the same subject. It's like how many times you can talk about the same subject, whether it's a person that comes to you over again, the same story again. Shamanu. We had enough already. Whether it's a country, whether it's whatever, a nation, at a certain point you get tired. Look at us. We prayed, we sang, we cried, we begged for thousands of years. For thousands of years, we begged for Yerushalayim, Ircha Berachamim Tashu. We begged for it. We cried for it. And all of a sudden we returned. And what happened? Not only that nothing happened, but there is a certain tendency today in certain groups in Israel that see themselves as that they see themselves as having the right to even give parts of Yerushalayim away. It's okay for them. If I have to say it, I will tell you this straight out. Sometimes I feel that our nation is in a state of progress, of advanced decay. I know it's not, he came now from Israel, he can tell you this probably better than me. The violence of the society, the extremism of the society, it will rip you apart. One thing sometimes you feel like saying is, guess what? I don't want to be here anymore. I had enough. I came here with all good intentions, but guess what? I'm getting off. That's it. Not for me. Right or wrong? If we are not going to find any kind of a backwind, something new, some new societal vision, some new concept that is going to bring about a new spirit in the people that are, whether they're here or in Israel, we have a problem. If we're not going to find something to refresh us, we're having a problem. As long as we were in the time of building the house or wanting to build a house, there was some kind of a longing. We missed that. We desire, we urged, we prayed for, And there was this spirit that kept on protecting us and refreshing us and pushing us further to keep on going, not to fall, not to fall, not to fall. You don't understand what it is. I mean, I'm sometimes torn about it, but overall I do think that sometimes going to the army is a good experience if you learn from it. I mean, you learn a lot about yourself, you learn about people. You don't know what does it mean to go on like a very difficult track. I don't know, to go like 80 kilometers with like, I don't know, 40 kilo, yeah, 80 pounds on your back. And it is, you think today is hot. It is hot. And there is sand. And you have your gun. And there are people who break. And they just stop. And there are those who have the spirit and they're reviving the people and they're going, and because of them people would finish. When you go to Sayeret Matkal, the first thing they take you from Afula to Petach Tikva, run, tarutz, 80 kilometers. You make it, don't make it, don't even bother coming. So you fall, you become tired but we don't know anymore who we are and what are we capable. We fell into this like deep sleep of very so-called comfortable society, and we got tired of everything. The sensation that I get from the people in Israel now, just tired. They're tired. And the question is, of course, is why is that? And we build so-called the house. We call it Habayit HaShlishi. Not that Bet HaMikdash is built, but for crying out loud, look at Eretz Israel. It's amazing. It's amazing. The building, the highways, it's amazing. We build this, but to build is not the problem. As long as we are praying for it, as long as we are building it, we are rejuvenated. You're tired, but it's good tiredness. But how do we maintain it? How do we maintain this big project that we had? How do we keep this excitement? Yerushalayim is gorgeous. Yerushalayim is seductive. You go to Yerushalayim caresses you like a seductive being. You fall in love with it immediately when you go in. Especially if you like Betar Yerushalayim, like me. And it's built. It's bigger than ever. The Negev is, inhabited. Sometimes it's green, sometimes it's not. The Galil, the Shfela, the Shomron, people are like all over the country. And by the way, this is not only just for building Eretz Israel or building Beit HaMikdash. This is true to anything that we dream and we build, we desire, whether it's work, whether it's wedding, whether it's buying a house, building a house. After we fulfill the dream, and there is this grace period of, yes, we did it, and we're happy that we did it, there's always this downfall, and that's where the problem starts. In marriage, you're excited, you're dating, you're this, you doing things that you never think you would do, you go down on your knees, you do all kind of tricks, stupidity, right? Whatever it is that you do. You're excited about it, you're planning for the wedding, comes the wedding, you get married, the first night, the second night, the first year, and then after that, your marriage life needs Viagra. Because it's dead. There's no more excitement. So what do? Let's have a baby. That brings another excitement. But it's all superficial. It's all superficial. You build a house, so you're planning, you bought, you hustle, and then, after a while, okay, the house is good, honey, darling, wonderful, I love the house. And then what? I don't know, it's a little small. Let's remodel the kitchen. What's wrong with the kitchen? Can probably serve you for another 30, 40 years. But no, let's remodel. Excitement, a little mess, and so on and so forth, If you need all these superficial things, you have a problem. You have a huge problem. It's a huge problem. And usually that kind of drop in tension creates destruction with it. Complete disaster. And there are many times, you could see as we spoke previously, from the 2.5 tribes, they came to Eretz Israel. They were just there. Hey, Habibi, we're not going in. Like a person who will go forever to college just so he does not have to graduate. After he takes a bachelor, it becomes a master's and a PhD, and a post-PhD, and a post-PhD, and then he takes another bachelor's in a different field, and he goes all over again. And before you know, he's 80 years old and he's still in college. Or the guy who deliberately fails himself so he does not have to go to college, so he would not be able to face that responsibility of maintaining life after I graduate. A person who's about to get married, deliberately, so they won't have to go into. People just like this excitement, but they never go into the commitment. And if they already go, they don't maintain the relationship appropriately, or the dream appropriately, and they never prepare for the day after. And then all hell breaks loose. And that's what happens right now. That's what happens in Israel. You know, we are bored with maintaining what we have built. It's boring. You know, everybody in the Air Force likes the pilots. Pilots, oh, the pilots. But as good as the pilot, what is more important are those mechanics that have to maintain his plane. He could be the best pilot in the world, but if he takes off and does a negative 4G, guess what will happen? His plane will blow into smithereens. Goodbye and good luck. It's not going to happen. And those people who have to check the stuff, these are the real heroes. Nobody gives them the credit for that. Look at Am Yisrael and the state of Israel. You can learn a lot about the situation that we're at. If 100 years ago, the songs that they used to sing around the fire or the bonfire or in some kind of like a, kolkhoz somewhere and who knows where in downtown Russia, with the eyes burning with desire or with malaria or whatever, they were singing songs and they were singing songs like Po be'eretz chemdat avot. This is right. Po be'eretz. It's just, look at this. Po be'eretz chemdat avot. In this land of the desire of our forefathers. Tidgashemna kol hatikvot. All that we hope for would be fulfilled. Po nichyeh ve'po nitzor. Here we would live, and here we will create. What we're going to create? Chaye zohar, chaye dror. Life of splendor and life of freedom. Po tiyeh hashchina shora. Here the Shechina would dwell. Po tifrach gam sfat haTorah. Here the language of the Torah would revive. A tremendous desire to reconnect with your past and bring it over to the future. That create a good momentum. Those chalutzim, those pioneers, talked about hopes, about emunah, and afterwards in the time of the Palmach and the other underground movements, the establishment of the State of Israel, the Israeli army, they sang songs of heroism and loss, right? They were, hey a jeep, they used to sing about praise songs to the jeep. They used to take them at nights in the desert and so on and so forth. And all of a sudden, what happens to Am Yisrael? Talking secular Am Yisrael. And we religious people are part of that. We live in that society. All of a sudden we stop singing and we stop babbling. Where would you find today, even from the secular aspect, somebody that would be able to use words with such grace, with such beautiful emotion towards the country, like, let's say, for example, Shaul Chernichovsky, Bialik. These are masterpieces. Where do we have it today? What do we sing today? Songs of passion, empty songs, I love you, you love me, we are a happy family. I mean, what do we sing today? Nothing. Garbage. Empty songs. empty words. Not only that, you would not find even one mentioning throughout that, or mentioning of God, of the Jewish tradition. You should know that anything that sounded religious at the time, or had some kind of a longing or desire for the past, everything that looked or sounded exile became disgraced and repulsive. What do I mean? People bury their past in order not to be labeled with a Jewish past. They wanted to create themselves a new identity. For example, Moshe Tehillim Zayder became Dan Ben Amotz. מכיר אותו, Dan Ben Amotz? יותר טוב שלו. Berkovich became Barak. Ehud Barak. Ben Joya became Yahalomi. Joya is a fine stone, like precious stone. Ben Joya, Yahalomi. Mualem became Tavor, etc., etc., etc. You change your name, you change your identity. When you change your name, you disconnect yourself from the past. I don't have anything to do with that. And which is a horrible mistake that might finish whatever is little left from that, what we call the Zionist dream, or this Jewish identity of the people who sit in Eretz Israel. They erase their identity completely. Instead of keeping, maintaining, and adding spices to this great dish that it's called Am Yisrael, everything was oppressed in order to create a new Israeli culture which is completely disconnected from its roots. Completely. And it's just getting worse and worse. I'm talking about virtues and values and foundations of Am Yisrael that maintained it, Am Yisrael, all over the world throughout the generations. Erased it completely. Modesty. If it wasn't for the laws of modesty and Shmirat Negiyah, we would not be here today. Every Jewish guy will marry Lolita. Every Jewish girl will marry Johnson. Goodbye and good luck. We won't be here today. So these are those things that we should maintain. The intermarriage in Israel is horrendous. And God forbid you would say anything about it. In Israel. But why is that? Look, what exactly happens? What happens is that people were either erasing this completely or were interested in keeping only what is mine. I don't care what you have. I only keeping my tradition. If you're Ashkenazi and I'm Temani, or if I'm Sephardi and you are, I don't care what you do. I don't even want to try to do that. I mean, which is really still a horrible mistake. What's the mistake about it? Imagine you're making a dish. Imagine you're making a dish. And another dish. You have a kitchen. And in this kitchen you only use one spice. One spice. Let's say you use only black pepper. And you use this black pepper for everything. From cookies to cakes to ice cream to meat to chocolate. The only thing you make, the only spice you use is only black pepper. What you will get out of it? A disaster. An absolute disaster. You know, even artists in Israel today are not interested in creating art. They're interested in getting rewards and names of recognitions. I've never seen a country, maybe besides Soviet Russia and China, that the government support its artists. Now, they had a big fight in Israel Because the minister of culture says, listen, I don't want to support artists who go against the land. I mean, why altogether you have to worry about it? Artists, the whole point of art is not to make money. It's for the art of it. Once you put a price tag or reward or something, it's not art anymore. It's a commodity. Even the artists went down stages in Israel. They don't write anymore. But the most important thing that we lost is we lost God in Israel. We lost God in the state of Israel. And that's the greatest loss that we have. However, when we took God out of our lives in Israel, that left a tremendous vacancy in the essence of the Jew. And specifically, that loss of God out of the Israeli equation is what brings the Israeli society for soul search in which it is today. From both extremes. Today, when people took God out of their lives, now there is a movement against that tries to put God in it. Artists and just regular people, whatever you want, find themselves making like a 360-degree turn to where they were before, like, or 180 to where they were before, should I say. And they're coming back to the place in which they return, which they ran away from. And all of a sudden, they start to look for God again and the traditions in which they try to run away from. And that fulfills their life with meaning, with essence. And all of a sudden, you find yourself in Tel Aviv with restaurants with Yiddish names, and everybody is eating shtetl food again, and chopped liver, and all kind of food that 20 years ago, like people said, what? And now all of a sudden, everybody's going back, and all kind of culinary adventures that people go into, and the Turkish people came out of the woodworks, and the Moroccans, and everybody is celebrating their own cuisine, and so on and so forth. Before you know, every second singer, becomes a Baal Tshuva, and he talks about God. He puts a kippah on. And even if his tshuva has many question marks after it, if you know what I mean, without mentioning names, the chozer b'tshuva, and they do all kind of other things. Okay, but said that the chozer b'tshuva, but still is symbolic for these people to go on a stage and to say Baruch Hashem with the kippah on. It's a big thing. There's still some of them are looking for to the life of a rock star, if you know what I'm saying. But at least they put a kippah. It's very interesting, the whole process that is going on. But the truth is, again, that we abandoned God. We just threw him out completely. Just as the parasha, the haftarah, that we read this week in Matot Masa'eh, talks about. I'll tell you the truth. I'll be honest with you. I didn't go through the whole haftarah. I just couldn't read it. I closed the sefer. I couldn't read it. The words in which HaKadosh Baruch Hu refers to through the Navi, he says to him, what have I done? What have I done that you left me? I mean, if it was a Shabbat, out of agony, of the pain of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how could we have done such I would rip my clothes and start crying, but it's Shabbat, I can't do that. I closed the sefer, I couldn't look at it. How can we do this? It's mind-boggling. It rips your heart apart. And that's why I'm saying, guys, pay attention to the haftarah. It's very important. Pay attention to the haftarah. Sit down, before Suda Shlishit. Say something the haftarah. If you said Dvar Torah and Suda Shlishit, say it about the haftarah. Everybody in the parasha, say something about the haftarah. There's a lot to learn. And all of a sudden, this search after our lost Avedah, what we lost, that we call it HaKadosh Baruch Hu in this Torah, all of a sudden, that what fulfills our lives with what we were looking for. We have that meaning, and you find Sfaradim, they become Breslev. I mean, what does a Sfaradi have to do with Breslev? But he is looking for something, and he found it there. He find God in this thing that's called Breslev. Some find it there, some find it there. Everybody find, but they were looking. All of a sudden, they find it. But guys, pay attention to the war that is going in Israel now. There is a war going, and the war that is going is not a war of guns. It's a war about the identity of Am Yisrael and the people who sit there. From one hand, you have those who find God on the holy time spectrum. I'm talking from those, how should I call them? Israeli Guidos, the big, huh?
Hippies.
Nah, really. I didn't want to use that word. But you know what I'm saying. Those people, for them, they just put a kippah on, and he might still smoke dope, but he has a kippah on. From that all the way to the serious one who sit down and dedicate their life to Torah, the holy tie spectrum on one hand, and on the other hand, those who try to oppress them by making fun of them, by doing everything they can to not allow this essence fill Am Yisrael again. It's a tremendous battle. If you don't know what I'm saying, bechavod, go watch as on the side what happens sometimes between the Israeli police, the Yassam, and you're laughing, and some chevra around Yerushalayim, Mea Shearim. I mean, you won't believe a Jew beats a Jew like that. This is unbelievable what's going on there. Emet or lo emet? It's ridiculous.
גם באתיופים, הכל.
גם באתיופים. Recently there was an officer, Israeli officer, army is like the Avodah Zarah of Eretz Israel. Army. He's an officer. They beat him up like Shem Yerachem. Leave the fact that he's a Jew, like you beat a person like that. Yata'ogoto. Violent. They're making fun of them. It is a tremendous battle that's going on. There is basically disconnecting Am Yisrael from its source, disconnecting Am Yisrael from HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Torah. And that brings us towards what I want to tell you. And this is not only for Israelis, this is also for you guys who are sitting here in, wherever you're sitting. And you need to understand that. So when somebody asks you, what are you? What do you say? Do you say, I'm an American? Do you say, I'm a Jew? Do you say, I'm French? Do you say, I'm an American Jew? I'm an Israeli? I'm a Jewish Israeli? I'm an Israeli Jewish? What are you? That self-definition is extremely important for what we're trying to achieve here, for what we talked previously in terms of creating this wind that will carry us over to the next stage. We saw almost 2,000 years how Jews are being treated wherever they are. What names they call the Jews. And it doesn't make a difference if the grandfather of your grandfather's father came here 400 years ago and was a patriot and fought in the Revolutionary War and fought in the world of he fought all the wars from the Revolutionary War all the way to the, to World War II. He was Methuselah of the war. Doesn't make a difference, Some lowlife, some thug that got off the boat yesterday, illegally, will come and tell you, Jew, go home. It does not make a difference how long you've been here. You're always going to be a stranger. I don't know about the who decides the immigration policies in our country, but it seems to me that more people from downtown Pakistan terrorist will come in that will let an Israeli a visa in. Not only to send a visa to come in. Why? I don't know why. Why? Because they're Jews. You're not welcome anywhere. Now pay attention. So finally you go home. And now you go home. So fine, you don't want me here, fine, I'm going home. I'm going home. So now that you're going home, now they're telling you, give us the land, please. We want the land. And what do? We keep quiet and we give the land. Does Mr. Obama knows what it says in this week's parasha? What are the borders? I don't care if he's a Muslim or a Christian. I don't care if he uses the Quran or the New Testament. For me, there's only one testament. What does it say on the border of the land? So what is he going to tell me? That God is not a real estate agent? So good. So close the book and that's it. But this country was based on that book. And what right does anyone has to come and tell us, give us land back. Give us the land. It's not back, by the way. Take the word back. Give us the land. What they're doing is, they're not taking the land back. They're taking the land from the Jews because they want to create a situation where Jews don't have a place to call home. I don't care if you're a right-wing mitnachel from I don't know what, from Jabal whatever, or you are Satmar, crazy. They don't care what you are. You are a Jew and you are not welcome here. It's very simple. And we don't understand that. And I never understood that why. I never understood why we always keep our mouths, quiet. Just titen lo, let them. Who needs Gush Katif? Who needs this? Who needs Bemed? Who needs Kalkilia? I need Kalkilia. I need Sebastia. I need everything from the ocean all the way to the Jordan River. From that you take. That's mine. That's mine. And Yerushalayim is mine, and you're not going to take it. But we don't have it. So until we're going to realize and feel that every single step, and it doesn't make a difference how dusty this place that I'm stepping on, how much oil there isn't there, it's not worth anything. Until I don't realize that that place that I'm stepping on is mine. Is mine, and I'm the balabait. I'm the boss. This is my land. This is my home. And I didn't come here to take it from somebody else. It was taken from me, and now I'm coming to claim what is rightfully mine. Why is it that every nation in the world, North Korea for crying out loud, they can have the piece of land, and I am not entitled to mine? Why is it? That I don't understand. The reason is very simple. When I step on the land, I don't feel it's mine. I go to Israel as a tourist, I come back to America. America is my home. I go to France, France is my home. I don't feel connected to the land. Even when I live there, I don't want to live there. Go Switzerland, go there. Have you ever visited the Shomron in the winter? It's gorgeous. Gorgeous. You ever, listen, I spent 4 years in the desert. I was in Sinai and in the Negev. And I tell you, what a beautiful place. I used to sometimes think, maybe in this place that I'm stepping, maybe Avraham Avinu, went like this, a little bit. Maybe Moshe came. Me there. Who knows who walked there? I felt connected to every step that I took there. I go to Yerushalayim. I can stop fantasizing and thinking and imagining, or maybe that stone that I'm stepping on right now on the kotel, on the bottom, on the lower side over there, maybe that step, maybe some Tana or Emorah or some Kohen, maybe Kohen Gadol step here. Maybe Rabbi Akiva stepped here. For me to think that maybe Rabbi Akiva set a foot and I'm putting my foot right on the same place, it is a mind-boggling idea. I mean, I'm on a spiritual high. And then I told you, and then I go to the wall, and I look at the gates of Bet HaMikdash, and I see them closed with bricks, and until I realized this one day, I didn't understand what galut is, what does it mean to be in exile. Only when I went to Israel, and I went to the steps with my boys, I went to the steps, and I showed them, said, look guys, these were the gates of Bet HaMikdash. And my son said, but it's closed. And I realized, you're right. I realized, what does it mean to be in exile? In my own country, I can't go in my own place. I want to see any of you that own a house or an apartment not being able to go, let's say, for example, to the bathroom or to your living room. Somebody else is sitting there. You'll throw a fit. You call the police. You take a baseball bat. You'll do something. Oh no, well, we don't. We gave it back. What do you mean you gave it back? How could any Jew negotiate on behalf of all the Jews? Not only on Jerusalem, on the whole entire land. Don't let any Israeli tell you, well, you sing in America, you have no right to speak. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sitting in America and I'm doing what I need to do here. You do what you need to do there. You deserve more than me. However, this is my land as much as it's yours, and you cannot give it away without asking me as well. Don't be fooled. Until we're going to realize that, that's not going to happen. Zu artzi moladeti. This is my land. This is my homeland. And this is my homeland. And not only that I don't have anywhere else to go. And this is my homeland. And I don't want to go anywhere else. That's my home. When I have this understanding, then I don't need to ask permissions from anyone, or any assurance from anyone, or justification to why am I living where I'm living, or why I'm doing what I'm doing. I want to ask you something. If Putin decides to bring a city in Crimea, anybody says anything? Why, when the Israeli government wants to build a place in Jerusalem, they have to ask permission from the State Department? What am I, an American state? Israel is a sovereign country. It's not about Israel. It's about the Jews. That's why you guys cannot be disconnected from what is happening in Israel. Because it's about the Jews. It's not about the state of Israel. So when somebody asks you what you are, will you define who you are? The definition is very simple. I'm a Jew, first of all. I'm a Jew. Outside of Israel, you could say I'm a Jew and I'm an American. I'm a Jew and I'm French. I'm a Jew and I'm South African. I'm Jew and so on and so forth. But first of all, you are a Jew. And if you forget that, the Goy will remind you that you are a Jew. Believe me. Believe me. You don't believe me? Go to France. Go anywhere. However, even here in New York. However, in Israel, there's nothing to add after that. I am a Jew. Because if I am an Israeli, well, therefore, the United Nations, we take votes and so on and so forth. The definition, I am a Jew, period, full stop, exclamation mark, and a punch in the face after that, is very important for one very simple reason. Because your life is dependent on it. And the life of your children as well. So you need to, first of all, gain in order to have this new wind that will carry us over to the next stage, instead of falling apart into great decay, we need to increase our Jewish pride. We need to increase our Jewish awareness. When we increase our awareness and pride, we will realize that he is a Jew just like me. And only then I could do ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha. Only then we can show to the world she'am Israel chai.